Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's a big day. It's a Monday. We got lots to discuss. Joseph's in the house. It's a Joseph Monday. People get excited about that. I get excited about that. There is Braves talk on the docket. There's a lot of talk on the docket because there's a lot of important series that took place this past weekend. I feel like for the purpose of continuation of storyline, I don't think that well, first and foremost, before we get into the series from this past weekend, it's old news now because it did happen
the day that we recorded.
Yeah, like right after we put the episode out. But Jackson Holliday has been sent down. I get it. It's old news. We don't do fucking episodes on the weekends. So you need to calm down. If you're like, oh, that was Friday, it's Monday. Like we didn't do an episode after it happened. It's a big story. So first and foremost, Justin Havens, I feel like I'm not coming at you. I'm not saying, hey, oh, you were wrong. I'm just saying that, like, you were a Jackson Holliday guy. That's all.
Still am. Don't past tense. He's still with in the larger picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the GM's comments after they demoted him were extremely revealing. And he basically said that he has not liked how this whole thing played out, and that it is extremely difficult to know exactly when a guy is ready or when the call up is correct. So, we can debate whether I was right or wrong about him needing to start the season in the major leagues. They tried not to, and then midstream abandoned their plan to pull him up and bring him up. And that ultimately didn't succeed. And he acknowledged that and said that, he had a great spring. He tore through AAA. He was sent down and continued to hit at that point. Like it's hard to know. And I think that's like kind of the interesting takeaway is that it is hard to know. And it's also hard to know which of these sorts of setbacks are ultimately the foundation for future greatness and which of these setbacks are the ones that derail a prospect irrevocably. So like, we all know there are plenty of players who have started really, really poorly who went on to great careers. Mike Trout had a terrible start to his career, whether you look at the first 10 games like Jackson Holliday got.
Bregman.
Trout's career. Bregman is maybe the best example
Pedroia.
Because of how severe Bregman's struggles were over a similar period. Trout's OPS through his first 10 games was below 500. So Jackson Holliday's were really bad. I looked at it, 170 OPS through his first 10 games. That's the fifth worst by any player who got at least 30 plate appearances through those 10 games in the wild card era. So thousands of players that are qualified to have been in that search, and he's the fifth worst. So it wasn't just bad, it was really bad. But I think that the Orioles comments themselves were pretty revealing about how difficult this process is.
I just left Baltimore. I just listened to all of those comments get made in person. And then I had conversations when the recorder was not on. And what I think needs to be done is there needs to be a tip of the cap given to the Baltimore Orioles front office and to Mike Elias. And here's why. Because far too often do teams get backed into corners or sort of pigeonholed, it feels like, publicly into this decision-making. And when they choose to, should they have chosen to start the season, sure, in their professional circles with Jackson Holliday at the big league levels, folks might have been going, well, that's a roll of the dice. Don't know what's going to happen. We'll see how that shakes out. We'll see if he's able to hit the ground running in the big leagues. And if not, I wonder if Mike and the guys are going to, I wonder if they're going to send him down. I wonder if they're going to demote him. I wonder. And what you hear when he starts talking about not knowing and how that's a tough decision to make, let's just examine what Jackson Holliday was supposed to do. And this is according to Mike Elias and the rest of the front office, right? He was supposed to go down to AAA. He was supposed to crush left-handed hitting or left-handed pitching. And that was really what they told you they needed to see. So when you hear what he says now, basically what he was telling you in a way that he couldn't just say it was, we think he's ready. We're not really sure. I don't really know what else this kid needs to do in the AAA ranks for us to believe he's ready. Here's kind of something that we've seen. So we'll label it like that. Got to go bang the lefties, and then we'll revisit. Well, what happened? He went down in the first fucking pitch he saw from a left-handed hitter. He deposited into the seats. And that just kind of kept happening. So they're going, well, I don't know when he's going to struggle. And this might be a case where the first time we see this dude struggle is going to be when he's at the elite level, when he's at the top of the top. And what the Orioles found out was he was struggling mightily. And they're also in a position where they don't have to allow him to mature and grow at the big league level. They have other guys that can produce right now, add depth right now. And that won't necessarily hinder their growth as a player. Because ultimately what you want is Jackson Holliday getting everyday regular repetitions so that he can either climb out of the little funk he's now found himself in, or at least he can start making adjustments to a level of game that clearly he was not ready for, that he clearly was exposed by. So where would you have him start to work on those things? Every 5 days in the big leagues without regular repetitions? Or would it benefit him to be in a place where he can focus on the adjustments, not on the numbers, and from there start to work his way into becoming the big league player they think he can be? And so every fan wants the organization to be transparent and to be open about this decision-making process. And it feels like this is the first time in a very, very, very long time, even though it kind of didn't start being transparent, that an organization has said, we thought he was ready. All the numbers told us he was ready. Nobody had seen him struggle. We brought him up. It didn't go well. And we're going to try to do what we can and do the best by the player. And we're going to put him in a position where he can go back and get better, because this dude's going to be a huge part of what we're doing. And I just watched the Orioles run out dude after dude after dude in that lineup and not miss a fucking beat. Okay. So where would you have Jackson Holliday in that mix? What would you ask him to be doing? Because what you don't want to do if you're the Orioles is have him start to deteriorate mentally because he's just not able to make the adjustments. And then he gets left behind. And then he starts to feel alienated because he's not producing. And there's just a lot that can go wrong there. So I think the Orioles deserve a lot of credit in the way that this has been handled in a short term.
So now when we look at the situation from start to finish, as Jay Hay mentioned, this is a player that number one overall pick, has performed at every level that he's ever been at. Got the invite to big league camp, was in spring training, performed there. So he had yet to fail anywhere. Starts the season at AAA, and everyone's looking at it like, what are we doing here? Like, this is a guy that clearly belongs in the big leagues, gets to the big leagues, but the result is, as Jay Hay pointed out, the fifth worst of all time, or at least in the wild card era, for someone that had the amount of plate appearances that he did. So my question to you, Dallas, is that if the first time he was sent down was to see how he performed against left-handed pitching, what are they looking to see now? Is this just a rebuilding of confidence to get him back up here, or what are they what do they need to see if he more or less failed at everything in the big leagues?
So he was, I'm trying to put this in, he was playing the game on intermediate level. And he was playing the game on intermediate level against other people who were playing the game on like rookie mode and beginner mode and maybe even normal mode, right? But he was on intermediate mode, almost like on Hall of Fame mode when he's playing against the minor league guys. Well, he got up to the Hall of Fame mode in the big leagues. And that was what he realized. Okay, stuff's just a little firmer. It's just a little crisper. I have that much less time to make my decisions. The movement's just a little more. So what I now have to do is I have to adjust my timing. And I have to take stock of how I'm being attacked, because he was exposed at the top of the strike zone. Like I think a lot of guys are when they first get to this level, because you have guys who can attack in that spot with more consistency and with more regularity than you might see at the lower levels. And so now it's about him making decisions, right? Selecting ball. It has to happen every pitch, but you have to be able to separate balls from strikes, and you have to be able to separate the pitches you can handle with authority, the pitches you can get to, and then the pitches that you know you're not going to be able to get an A swing off on, but you're still going to have to defend against. You're still going to have to protect. And so now you have to find a way to get to the baseball and either fight these pitches off or figure out a way to get yourself in position to be able to even get to these pitches, because that's also a problem. And Jay will confirm for you. Swing and miss. He's not getting to pitches when he's offering. And so figuring out a way to limit how you're being exposed, understand how you're being attacked, and figuring out what pitches you can get back to hammering, to getting to. But it's also about building confidence, 100%, because you would not have him run out there against guys who are averaging 96, 97 with some of the shit that they're dealing with, and have him start to try to work through those adjustments. And it almost sounds counterintuitive, because you say, so you want him to go down to a lower level with lesser stuff and work on getting to pitches in places that those guys aren't going to be able to get them to? Well, that's not his fault that it's not in AAA, but if he's going to have to work through it, it's got to happen somewhere, and it can't happen for the Orioles with the roster looking the way it does and their ability to run a consistent lineup out there every day. For him, it just can't happen in the big leagues. There's no room for it to happen in the big leagues.
Yeah, I just hope that it's not demoralizing. There's no way to know unless we ask him the question ourselves or someone else does, but you're 20 years old. You get called up to the big leagues as the most highly touted prospect that I think has come across our dash probably since Vladdy Jr. Like who else was like, man, can't, like, you know, we've had this discussion. Like, it's not like
Cruz.
Yeah, but like we're talking like 1-1
Can't
blue
miss hype.
chip. Yeah, like we've been following this dude since low A type deal. Yeah, I just hope, because of his age, being 20 years old with all those expectations being placed on you to get called up to a team that's ready to win right now. And there are a bunch of guys that kind of like, you're not the trailblazer here. Like, there is a path that has been forged here by other 1 first round picks, you know, like
you're almost coming into a
guys.
group. You're almost joining this group where it's like, you know, Adley, Gunner, you know,
Kaiser,
Kierstead, like all these guys, like Keston Kierstad's there, right? And they're finding ways to implement him. They're finding ways to get him into the ball game. So he's trying to, I don't want to say trying to fit in, but I'll say this. You got to believe it's demoralizing for sure, but think about what he has going for him. For every reason you might think it could impact him greatly, I want to believe is every reason this dude has a great shot and will climb out of this and rebound, because he is only 20 years old and he's got hitting DNA coursing through his veins. Like, usually when you grow up with siblings, you end up getting a little older and you get your own room. Jackson Holliday got his own batting cage and then just moved into the apartment that was built into the batting cage. All right. That's where this dude comes from. So he got exposed and it was shown at the highest level of competition in our game. So that's when he finally struggled. So I'd like to believe, because he's dominated everywhere he's been, this is just a matter of him being introduced to the speed of the game and the stuff of this game for the first time. And he's going to go, oh, got it. Let me go back. I'll turn the game on Hall of Fame mode and I'll see in a little bit. And we'll see what kind of adjustments I've been able to make.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes, because I think it's going to be a while before we have answers. If he goes down to AAA and ends up hitting 380 with like a 1020 OPS, is that going to be enough for us to be like, all right, now he's ready? Because we've seen it before and we have to see it at the big league level. And I think we have to see it somewhat consistently. I think if he comes up and has a hot week, then it's like, all right, this is better than the first time. But, you know, what does it look like a month later?
This is where the evaluation of the player internally is what's going to matter. And the numbers that might get produced or might not get produced for the general public to consume, those are going to mean little to nothing in this next decision for when he comes up, because they have had a conversation with him on what they want to see at the plate. I think about the same thing that happened with Estuary Ruiz. This is what we want to see, regardless of what the numbers say over the first 3 games. We need you here in the big leagues. We need you hitting leadoff. These are the things that you need to do to get back here and stay here. That same conversation has been had with Jackson Holliday, and they will evaluate accordingly.
So now the other thing too is we can almost guarantee we're not going to see him for a little bit.
I was going to say, Jared, and that's why I'm telling you about how they're going to evaluate him. Because if you send him down for a month, and like you said, you look up and he's hitting 380, you're going to go, fuck, he's swinging it. Okay, great. But has he achieved the things that you wanted him to achieve? Like, are you asking him, hey, look, man, we want you to go up there and get behind in the count intentionally. We want you taking your first at bat, if you can, 0-1, and then from there, do what you got to do. I have no idea what those conversations are specifically, but that's just an example of having a conversation about the things we want to see this guy work on, and then having him go out there and apply it. Because if that's the conversation, hey, we want you to get deeper into counts, and he's offering it the first fucking pitch or the first 2 pitches in every at bat, but he's getting on base. Has he made the adjustments that you wanted him to make? No, but the numbers look good. So then what would you do? The front office might say, that's great, man, but this isn't the path that we laid out. So we need to see this executed. And that's where you go.
I'm just curious, the Orioles thinking on this. Like, do they view that, like, yes, he failed, but did they view this as a failure? Because it's the same thing happens with every top prospect. Like, you want to see them fail at some level to see how they adjust and how they come back from that. Jackson Holliday never failed at any level, as we just said. So once he got to the big leagues, he failed in a big way. I think more so than seeing, we got to see him hit those lefties. Like, no, I don't think it's something like nitpicky like that or specific. I think it's more, how does he come back from this colossal failure? And how patient are the Orioles with it? If he is dominating again, how long do they keep him down there? Because are they gun shy to bring him back up for a second time because they don't want to look stupid by calling him up again and putting him in a position to fail? Or is it, we want to see him fail so that we can see how he comes back from that? If he comes back in a big way, then he's earned his second promotion.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a matter of being gun shy at all. I think it's just a matter of them realizing, and this is why I said a tip of the cap to Elias in the game, because the transparency and the honesty in their responses, I think you can understand why it probably scares organizations to have the big leagues be the first level that a top prospect fails at, because you haven't really been able to evaluate how they handle the struggle, how they pull themselves out, and how they react to this failure. That's why I said with his DNA and his pedigree and him only being 20 years old, this, in my opinion, is just a blip on the radar for him. And it's happened in the big leagues. That's how fucking good he is this has happened to him in the big leagues and nowhere else.
Yeah. Joseph, how are you handling this situation? How long, let's say Jackson Holliday just immediately starts tearing it up down in AAA. How long are you letting him do that before you give him a second chance?
I don't know, like a week or two.
A week or two? Jesus
I guess
Christ.
I don't fucking know. Like, I'm not a talent evaluator, but if the problem is that you want to see him, it sounds like the Orioles now, I guess, Dallas is what you're saying. They were kind of wanting him to do bad in the minors to see him.
Every team does that with like a top prospect.
That's it's just where you,
it's what they look at.
It's where you want to see. It's not where, Joe, specifically. It's beneficial from a talent evaluation standpoint, because look at the Orioles and where they're at right now. Like, this dude, by numbers and all evaluations, was just supposed to be able to come up to the big leagues and keep it going, right? But you wouldn't know what it looks like for him to pull himself out of an 0 for 25 because it's never happened. You don't know if he decides to, you know what, I'm just going to shorten up and I'm going to go the other way for a week and see if that gets me out of it. Or, you know what, I might go to a toe tap because I feel like I'm getting beat by a half second with this leg kick. So I need to adjust that. Maybe I need to get my hands up a little more because I got a little hitch. And I think when I'm trying to get to my loading position, instead of getting up, I'm dropping my hand. So I might switch there. So there's some tinkering that's going to go on, right?
Yeah. That's what I read in the Athletic article about it. They were trying to get his leg kick smaller, I guess. And can't catch up to the fastballs.
And that's timing you're getting exposed at the top of the zone. I mean, you could legitimately go and look at a lot of his punch outs and what's happened. Right-handed pitchers dominating at the top of the zone with spin in under the hands. Like it's a classic mix of speed a young guy up and get him ready for the heater. And then because you can command the breaking ball, you put that where you want, and he's geared up for 95 plus, and you tie him in a pretzel. I mean, it's simple execution for a pitcher.
That's why it's tough to figure out when it's time to get him back up, because if you're, typically you just wait for a guy to do good in the minors, and then that's a good sign to bring him back up. The guy dominated the minors. They brought him up, and he wasn't good.
Well, now
I don't know what they're waiting for.
So they might tell him, Joe, or they might say to themselves, we're going to start to see how he handles pitches at the top of the strike zone, inner third with spin. Is this a pitch he's able to identify with a little more regularity? And they're telling him, hey, look, we want to see you lay off this pitch. We want to see you let this pitch go by, because we know that for you, this pitch in the big leagues has been an issue. So we're going to work on identifying this pitch and figuring out when you can get to it and when you need to let it go. That's what we need to work on. And that was my point, is if you're having that conversation with him and then he proceeds to go out and get aggressive early in the count and he starts to hit those pitches that we're talking about and he cripples them, you're going, okay, that's good. But remember, this is a pitch at the next level that we're having trouble getting to. So are we sure that you want to be aggressive early on these pitches, or is this something that we can let go to see if we can work ourselves into a better spot later in the count?
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing they're just going to wait until someone gets hurt or they need to call someone up and he'll be the next man up. But it's tough because they have a lineup full of left-handed hitters. That's all they have basically. And they have all these really good hitters who aren't even like guys like Ryan O'Hearn, for example. These guys aren't even like top prospects, but they're just,
O'Hearn. I was talking with him. I was making fun of him. I was like, you old ass bitch. What are you doing? He's like, O'Hearn's 30 or whatever it is. And he's like, bro, I'm trying to keep up with these dudes. I said, you're fucking 30. And he said, I know, but you see these dudes, like you see what these dudes are all about. I was like, yeah, I know. Fair point. Because Adley Rutschman hit a ball. Oh my, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Fucking guy.
They got a lot of good players, but that's why it's tough, man. It's like, I think that's probably why they sent him down. He's 1 for 30, but if they're going to start like sitting him against lefties, there's no reason for him to be in the major leagues. I'm surprised they brought him up that quick at all, just because it seemed like they were going to wait a month and do the service time manipulation. It seemed like they just could fuck it.
But Joe,
bring him up,
that's why you tip your cap. That's why you say
my cap.
Yeah,
I'm tipping my cap.
They made the move.
Yeah. We had Passan on Section 10 a week ago or so, and he said that the Orioles' crop of talent is better than the wave that started to come up in 18 for the Braves. It's better than the wave that started to come up in 16 for the Astros, and it's better than the wave that started to come up in 15 for the Cubs.
Dude, it's stupid.
And all those teams, by the way, as you know, won championships. All of them.
It's stupid. So. And for all, by all accounts, it feels like the Orioles are going to continue. If they continue to be successful and they continue to be as competitive as they think they're going to be for as long as they project to be, and they're going to start spending money, you start to factor in the Orioles come midsummer. You start to have to factor in the Orioles when we start talking about moving players around, finding spots for guys who are going to be impact playoff pieces.
Yeah.
That's a new ball game. We haven't been having that conversation for a while.
They traded for Corbin Burns and didn't give up any of their major pieces.
Right. And it's scary to think about that this team, like, come on, the Orioles start calling in July, that's a fucking different world than what we've been living in. That's a different world because it's stand pat. We'll see how this goes. No, now the Orioles are going to, or you'd like to see them to be active in pursuit of pieces for the postseason.
Yeah. I think there's a really good chance they are just because of the new ownership.
That's what I'm saying.
New ownership comes in. They want to make a splash, do the Cohen dance. I'm here to stay, baby. I'm here to make Baltimore great again. We're getting Mike Trout, motherfucker.
Oh God. Yeah, we'll see. But the MLB season is in full swing, and Underdog Fantasy wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball, or you can mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. I know in terms of mixing and matching this past Saturday, we had the Red Sox at 4, we had the Celtics at 6, and we had the Bruins at 8. I may have gotten that order mixed up, but either way, it was a Boston sweep on Saturday. I know that our good friend Jake here was having a great time using the Underdog Fantasy app over the weekend, and I'm sure that will continue. We got what do we got? Bruins, Celtics tonight?
Just Celtics tonight.
Celtics tonight, Bruins tomorrow?
Yep.
That's a big layoff for the Bruins. I don't know if I love that. Make sure that you sign up with your promo code Jared, Jared, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared.
Look what I got, motherfucker. You guys get this?
Oh, shit. Look at that. It's an Underdog neon sign. I do have that. It's on my kitchen table. I got to figure out how to drill a hole through this brick wall so that I can hang it up here. It's a literal brick wall. Everyone's like, oh, is that like real brick? It's real brick. So I've got to figure out how to do that. Either that or this is kind of like my baseball is dead set. So I think I'm going to build like another set out there that's much larger for streams and other shows that we do where maybe when Dallas is in town, hopefully the studio is done by then. We can do a nice little group project. That would be nice. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, as I said, big weekend in baseball. I feel like since we talked about the White Sox so much and saying whether or not they were going to have double-digit wins by June 1st, they go out and sweep the Tampa Bay Rays. And with that sweep, they no longer even have the worst record in baseball. That distinction belongs to the Miami Marlins, who also have 6 wins. They're tied in the win column. So we're still talking about a race to double-digit wins between the White Sox and the Marlins. You can even loop the Rockies, and the Astros have still not won double-digit games, but they also were a team that swept over the weekend. We'll get to the Houston Astros in a little bit. But just wanted to shout out the Chicago White Sox for sweeping the Tampa Bay Rays. That Andrew Benintendi of all guys, not a big power guy, so much in the later days of his career, but he did have a walk-off home run this past week.
Shunick on deck. Benintendi! Let's go! The White Sox walking off in the 10th. And for the first time all season, the Sox have won 2 in a row. Say it with me. Say it proud for all the haters. Southside, stand up.
Oh my God. I mean, listen.
Hold on.
You're not going to replace Benetti. It's okay, guy.
Listen.
I love that.
Awesome.
I respect it.
I'm going to say this, Dallas, as someone who knows what it's like calling a dreadful baseball team. I'm sure you can relate. Like,
absolutely.
You don't have to call out the haters. Like, you're still by far one of the worst teams maybe to ever play the sport. It's you can celebrate a big walk-off win, no doubt. Winning back-to-back games for the first time all year. It's almost May. you know, it's a little,
Hey,
you know.
Look. Here's the
I
rule.
respect the passion and the enthusiasm. I
Jerry,
do.
Here's the rule. You can celebrate every victory like it is walk-off Game 7 material for
Yeah.
yourself and for your fans, but you absolutely, you got to leave the other teams alone when things
Yeah.
are going the way they are for you specifically. And look, that's not a critique. Those are sage words. That is experience that I am trying to just throw out there. I'm not speaking from a place where that hasn't happened before. I'm speaking from a place of pure experience. Celebrate the boys and girls on your club as much as you possibly can, but you gotta leave them other teams alone.
Yeah. Listen, if we're going to handicap the battle between the 2024 Chicago White Sox and the haters, I'm putting the house on the haters. The haters are probably still going to win this one.
They call out the haters. I was hating on them. I'll be honest. I made a TikTok about how their numbers they had before this weekend were so bad. The offense, they were last in everything. Last batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, scored the least amount of runs, least amount of hits, least amount of homers. They had literally, what was their WRC plus was like 60, which was basically the worst hitter last year. Tim Anderson, qualified hitter, had a WRC plus of like 62. And the White Sox as a team had 60. So it was like their whole lineup was having the worst hitter in baseball, just 9 of them.
Yeah. Did I see Kevin Pillar got DFA'd?
Yeah.
I think I saw that today. And like, because he just went on,
Foul territory.
Yeah, he went on foul territory talking about, you know, the clubhouse culture and, you know, we show up every day, we're trying to win. Like, he was very positive about the White Sox experience, immediately DFA'd.
No, that he did that interview after he got DFA'd.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They called him in. There's like, what happened, bro? Well, I guess they got Tommy Pham now, so they don't need Mr.
That's what I was just about to say, Joe. Shout out Tommy Pham. Shows up leading the club and hitting already.
Yep.
Let's go.
He had a tweet the other day, like someone, he just like, he responds to people on Twitter. It's awesome. Someone was like, if a team signs you, how soon could you be ready? He was like, tomorrow. Like he didn't need spring training. He's like, I can roll out of bed and start just like clubbing homers. And
well, he did. He rolled out of bed and gathered 2 knocks real quickly.
Yeah. Tommy Pham, very underrated. Starting 9 alumni, Tommy Pham, by the way.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite stories of all time.
Well, I was just gonna say, who you remember? Who were you? I forget the other dude, but we were talking about physicality and like who you fucking with, and I was trying to tell you about Tommy Pham, and you're like, I don't know,
It was Luke
man.
Voigt. It was Luke Voigt.
Oh, Luke Voigt. Yeah, you're like, I don't know. Luke Voigt's kind of big, and I was like, brother, I love Luke Voigt to death. I love him to death, and I love me some Tommy Pham, and it's just not even a conversation we need to have.
Yeah, like Coley in the past has said that he's like, I'm gonna make a movie about your life and just change all the names so I don't have to pay you any royalties, because like some of the stuff that like has happened, you just wouldn't believe it. I would tell the stories on Barstool Radio all the time, and people would be like, oh, there goes Carrabba's making up another story. It's like, no, just a lot of stuff is just like that unbelievable. But one of my favorite life stories is, it had to have been 2022, I think. I don't think it was last year. Yeah, it must have been 22 when Pham was with the Red Sox. And it was just me and him sitting in the dugout. And when I'm not exaggerating, it was the loudest thunderstorm that I've ever experienced in Boston. Like I've experienced a thunderstorm like that because I've been to Florida many times. Like it was like a Miami thunderstorm happening over Fenway Park. The rain, it's pissing, there's lightning, there's thunder, and it's just me and Tommy Pham sitting in the Red Sox dugout, and he's explaining to me the story of why he slapped Jock in the face. Like he's giving me the behind the scenes, here's what went down, here's why I did it, here's why I don't regret it, like all this. Yeah, Tommy Pham is probably one of my all-time favorite guys to cross paths with in baseball.
And I'm so glad that happened, because I wanted, like, because like you talk to him in a different setting, removed from other people, and if you don't, like, if you're not familiar or you don't know a story, you're going to be taken aback. You're like,
yeah,
I did not see this coming. Like, oh shit, okay, and that's if you were ever If you're ever curious about whether or not you want to fuck around and find out with Tommy Pham, let me help solve your curiosity. Just don't find out. I'll tell you.
Just a great dude. Shout out to Tommy Pham. Shout out to the White Sox, proving the haters wrong this weekend. Proving them haters wrong this weekend. Another series where the haters got proven wrong. Dallas. Your
Which one?
Oakland A's took 2 of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles this past weekend.
Well, that's after splitting with the big bad New York Yankees as well.
Yeah, that did happen as well.
But let's be real. Going on the road trip is his first 10-day roadie of the season. You got Cleveland, you got New York, you got Baltimore, you got essentially 3 first place teams that you're going to go play. It was going to be a huge test, and it was. Cleveland, once again, smacked the green and gold right in the face, swept them out of Cleveland. And so the idea of taking 4 or 5 on the road was like, well, fuck, I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. And then you go and split in New York, which was awesome. And like you just said, Jared, 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. And believe me, I was talking all the shit after the first win. I was like, this is happening. The baseball gods know to give the first sweep in the Adley Rutschman era to this A's team right here, right now. That's how this is going to go. I was telling every security guard. I was talking shit to every fan I could find. And, well, that didn't happen, but the series win did.
McCann in the air, launched towards right field. It's going back, and Kyle McCann, see you later. Take the lead with 1 swing. Kyle McCann with the 2nd homer of the year, and you will hear the boo.
Yeah.
So
ice cold.
Listen,
cold.
That is quite the series for the Baltimore Orioles. I was watching, and listen, this is gonna sound like Dick Ride Central, Dallas, but hear me out. Has the emergence of Mason Miller changed the vibes and the culture around this team? I feel when you have a guy at the back end like that, like I see it when he pitches, all the dudes in the dugout are on the top step. Like the A's turn into fans when he's pitching. And I mean, he comes out there and he bullies some of the top hitters in baseball. I feel like that has to change your brain chemistry from being like, fuck, man, I play for the A's. Like I'm if I'm on the A's, it feels like I'm barely in the big leagues, to then getting to watch this guy. It's like, yeah, if we just have a lead at the back end, like here we go. Like that. We've got one of the best.
Just look at that picture I sent you. You see that picture?
Yeah.
Just what
Everyone's
I'm
looking at him.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It has nothing to that's different. That's just different. Do you understand? Yeah. And you can see his teammates, they're peeking around each other so that they have a clear shot of him walking through. That's different. What I'm showing Jared and Joey and Jake and Jay, and I'll show you guys now, if you're watching, is a picture of them walking through the handshake line after a game. And you can see each and every one of their faces. They are locked the fuck in on Mason Miller walking past them.
Yeah.
Or they'll be
so
walking
am I
past
onto
Mason.
Something here, Dallas? Am I onto something?
I would love to give you credit for identifying that, but no, because that is what's special about certain groups is you get to watch them behave this way internally before anybody else takes note of what is going on. And so they've been behaving this way. They have been looking at him this way for a long time. But what starts to happen, Jared, is guys start to take ownership of certain roles, and the hierarchy just starts to shake itself out a little, right? And what's going on in this bullpen right now is really special because you've got some Austin Adams is a certified weirdo, certified psycho. And
Who's this other dude that was throwing 100 the other day? Where the fuck are you hiding these guys?
I'm not telling you his name. I'm not telling
What's
you
his name. I'll look it up right now.
No.
What's his name?
No, I don't know.
It wasn't something traditional.
It's Manute Bull. but the roles have started to shake themselves out. And you got guys like fucking Lawrence Butler, Law Dog, tweeted the other day, we got the best 8 and 9 in baseball. Fact.
Facts.
Okay, fact. But that's so.
How the fuck do you say this guy's name?
It's Lucas Ursig. And
Ursig.
You'll like
Lucas
this, Jared.
Ursig.
You'll like this. He's been pitching for about 2.5 years or so.
Like ever?
Yep. Because he was an infielder.
Oh,
He was a third
throws
baseman.
100.
Yeah, throws 100. I think we've had him at 102.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 11 and 2/3, 14 strikeouts, 154 ERA.
Yeah. He's nasty. But you've got a guy like Austin Adams down there in the bullpen who you got to watch this. Like, he's yelling at himself. He's yelling at fucking base runners. He's yelling at the hitter. This dude, he did the fucking Soto shuffle in Soto's grill over at first base, and then just told him to beat it. Like, get out of here. Like, the guy is a fucking peach. But you have
Lucas?
No, not Lucas. Adams. Yeah, he's Joe. Joe, this dude he's a beauty. But you have a dude like him, another guy, left-hander, TJ McFarland, who's been fucking outstanding for this club. Shout out Spanky. He's been just the balance of, we'll go out and do the dirty work. We'll be the clowns. We'll keep this shit lively in here. You boys at the back end, you just do what you do. And everybody else in between has filled in very nicely. You're getting great performances from Mitch Spence quietly. I mean, why would you know that name? You shouldn't. But what has he done? Eaten up super important innings that have led to the emergence of guys like Urseg. It's now shown you who Mason Miller is because he's able to pitch in spots that are advantageous and that are beneficial, that are spots that he probably is reserved to be pitching in instead of trying to build a bridge to get to him. They've figured that out. But once teams have players that start to have success, you bet your ass other players feed off that. But to answer your question in a long-winded way, Jared, this isn't something that the players in the room, needed to have happen so that they could get up. They're almost enjoying, and they give me shit. Like after the older Orioles series, they're like, so not going to tweet nothing. We're just not going to get any love now because they know they're like, people are fucking, we joke about it. Oh, people are learning. People are finding out. And I'm like, I know, dog. I know. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
The A's, you guys are getting carried by the bullpen. You guys are 28th in starters ERA, 29th in runs. So you have the worst hitters and the worst starting pitchers almost. And still, with third place, because that bullpen's that nasty.
And the
Mason
Astros
Miller
suck,
leads the team in WAR out of the fucking pen.
Yeah. And I mean,
That's
like a dude like Kyle Muller. Kyle Muller was our opening day starter last year and was sent down to AAA, was having a tough time figuring things out. Release point and a lot of different things. Pitch mix. Now he's serving an extremely valuable role as a long guy in the bullpen. Has done a phenomenal job, 4 or 5 inning outings at a time. So you're getting great performances, like almost from everybody down there in that bullpen.
Hate to see them all get traded.
Damn.
Joey?
Deadline. Would hate to see that.
Damn, dude.
Would not like to see Mason Miller replace Craig Kimbrell as the closer for the Baltimore Orioles for the 2024 World Series.
That ain't happening. That is not happening.
Tell you what. Been watching a lot of A's baseball recently. I usually do, but they've been getting a lot of big TV treatment recently. It's something. Tell you what, maybe the postseason isn't in the cards this year, but they've got some guys. Jay, hey, do you have any nice things you want to say about the A's?
Just glad I have unlimited text messages for how often I'm getting Miller time text message. If I was on some sort of budget plan, we might have to, work something out between me and Dallas. No, I think it's nice they have something to get excited about at the end of games. And frankly, that's like the most dangerous place to have something to get excited about because it's totally out of that person's hands, whether they get to participate in the game. So that we have seen so much of him and that he has developed this cult following or whatever is, jokes aside, pretty cool. And it would be nice if we want to see more of him, if the A's in general stay as pleasantly, competent as they have been so far.
Well,
those are nice words, Jay.
Tough stretch for Paul Blackburn, though.
Yeah.
But you know what they did do? They won the game that Paul Blackburn started. They've been doing
That's
that
true.
a lot
And that's
more
really all
of
that
than they've
matters.
lost him. So,
Yeah. Best predictor of current wins and losses is wins and losses. That's what I always like to say.
The Jay Hay baseball is dead gauntlet concluded this past weekend. And it didn't go so well for our very own Justin Havens.
Trying to get the series win here on a Sunday. This might do it. Up the middle. Austin Riley. He delivers. Acuna scores. And the Braves walk it off.
We got a walk-off win for them Braves, Joseph.
Felt good, man.
Yeah,
What a great competitive series. I wouldn't say it was a total L for Jay and his Guardians. They came into town and they gave it their best bet, the old country try in the A. And they won one game. We got to tip our cap. We got to tip our cap to the fighting Guardians. But it's really all about the Braves. And it's really about the old fucking pitchers. Chris Sale. I mean, Jay, what'd you think about Chris Sale? Looked pretty nice, right? Some nasty shit still. If he stays healthy, him and Charlie Morton are going to be like the two X factors, I think, for the Braves this year. Because the offense is going to hit the fuck out of the ball, which they always do. Against the Guardians, kind of silenced the Braves offense a little bit. You got also, I'm going to tip my cap twice to the Guardians. They did silence the offense a little bit. But if Charlie Morton and Chris Sale keep this up, it's like Strider never even left.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo Lopez. He's been the Braves' best pitcher under the radar. I think he leads the team in WAR, which you would not expect out of a Braves team. To have a soccer player be the best player on the team.
Not with that lineup. He's what's
Yeah.
Did I see he's got does he have a sub-1 ERA, Joe, or like just
Ronaldo?
over?
Yeah, 0.72.
Pretty good.
Where do they find these guys, the Braves?
I mean, that was a pretty good series. If you were tuning into Braves guards over the past weekend, like right now, they are separated by one game for the best record in Major League Baseball. It's 19-7 and 19-9. The Braves with a plus 47 run differential with the Guardians at plus 46. So that's about as evenly matched as it gets. And the Braves come out on top, obviously having home field advantage in that series. But it was a fun weekend to watch those two teams go at it. Enjoyed that.
Same shit with the guards, bro. It's just like, how are they going to score? So it comes down to, you boys need to get some freaking bats in there.
Yeah, I can't say the results were particularly surprising in this series. I mean, I'm not content with taking 1 out of 3, but I think it's a pretty reasonable outcome.
Yeah, the rubber match could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't, if you're a Guardians fan, you don't walk out of that series being like, man, we are totally overmatched. If that's the bar, like if that's the ultimate litmus test is the Braves, you don't walk away from that test coming out with one win feeling like you were completely overmatched, because you weren't.
No, and not to like deflect from some of that series, but if I'm a Guardians fan, which I am, the thing that I'm taking from this weekend and the recent play around me is actually the Twins winning streak as much as it is anything related to my own play or the series against the Braves. Because, they're now back above 500 after really digging themselves quite a hole. And, there's still 4.5 games separating them and the Guardians, and multiple teams to climb between them and, with Tigers and Royals anyway. But, they've thrust themselves back into the relevance of the conversation, and they were the preseason favorite. So that's, I think, the most interesting central development lately.
7 straight wins for the Minnesota Twins. Do any of you give them a chance to get back into the division picture here in terms of like, could they still win this division? Did everyone besides
Absolutely.
Jay Hay pick the Twins?
Yeah. I believe so. We were all on the Twins aside from Jay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They
and
can absolutely still win the division.
Yeah, I think they can and not speaking specifically about the Twins, but I think speaking about other teams in that division, I think is why, like for what Jay said, I'm not calling the early success of the Guardians smoke and mirrors, but I think there is something to maybe some of the teams that they played early and the lack of power still potentially being an issue later down the road. It's early. They've won some games and some series against teams that they probably should have, and they did so decidedly. But I still think that there's absolutely room for the Minnesota Twins to get their shit together and be the presence in the division that we all felt like they can be.
Yeah. Well, if they're going to do that, there's a team that they're going to have to overcome.
The Royals with cheese.
That's the Kansas City Royals are for real. I know that they didn't have a great weekend. I think they lost 2 out of 3. But they've been playing some great ball at home. They have won 12 of 17 at home this year to start the year. So that is a team that is very much for real. I think if you kind of like look around the league and you see some of these first place teams, second place teams that have pretty respectable records, you look at the run differential and you're like, all right. But the Kansas City Royals have a plus 43 run differential.
Shout out Seth Lugo has been throwing the absolute piss out of the baseball.
Yeah, that's who I wanted.
Shout out Salvador Perez, that old fuck who's like not even that old.
And Joe, what are they talking about? They're talking. I mean, they're comparing their him-hawing around the idea of Sal, Hall of Famer. They're throwing out comparisons. Jay, is that a conversation you've been privy to?
Who is they? I want they identified first.
You've seen it, Joe?
I've seen it. They're
the Royals broadcast. Yeah.
They're comparing him to Molina. They're saying, hey, these guys kind of putting up similar numbers.
It's wild. That's wild.
He could be.
Yeah,
be a dark horse.
Here's the problem. If they're going to a numbers comparison between Molina and Salvador Perez, they've lost the battle because we're talking about maybe the greatest defensive catcher in modern baseball history against a guy who is functionally a part-time catcher at this point. Like Sal is not he's not a full-time catcher.
You just called Sal a broke bitch.
Ended his career.
You just called Sal a broke bitch.
No.
Your words, bud, not mine.
I think
Turn the volume up.
He's much more relevant, much deeper into his career than I thought he would be. That 48 homer season from 21 is still like outrageous.
48 homers.
Yeah, that's what I said. Sorry, if I didn't say that, that's what I meant to say. 48 homers. But yeah, I think his numbers are going to probably end up close to what they were in 22 and 23 by the end of the season. And I don't think he's anywhere near a caliber player.
Really? Nowhere near. I mean, he's less than 10 WAR away from Yachty. I mean, let's have him pass the Baines line first. Jay, what do we say about that? And that could, I mean, when's that going to happen? That going to happen later this year? People have been asking about the Baines line. I'm telling you, I'd love to celebrate it. Last year, people got spoiled. It was a buku year for the Baines meter, and this year we're really hoping on some old heads to drag their asses across the Baines line. He's one of them.
He's only 33. This will be his age 30. I guess he's turning 34 this year.
Yeah, and how much meat we got left on that deal?
Week.
When's he
signed through 2025 with a 2026 team option?
Okay. So you could see so he's got one to 2 more years after this one.
Hey man, if he leads these Royals back to another World Series, tell me that's not a Hall of Fame achievement.
Is Sal? Hold on, Jay. So as it sets right now, he's accumulated just a little over 1.5 WAR, right at about 1.5 or whatever. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Does he hit the Baines meter this season?
Hell no.
No, he doesn't.
I think the better, honestly, I think this is going to make me sound like such a fucking hater. I think the better question is whether he ever gets there. rather than
you literally just euthanized Salvador Perez on the podcast. You have unbelievable.
Salvador Perez would have to put up. Hold on. This would have to end up being Salvador Perez's second best season at worst, behind the 2021 8-homer campaign, for him to reach that. Because right now he's 4.3 from tying it, and he's already accumulated 1.5 this season. So he started the year 5.8 away.
Yeah.
That would so it would have to end up being his best season.
And you said
there's no way that's fucking happening.
And you said because he's I think your words were because he's a lazy broke bitch and doesn't want to catch, he's gonna have a tough time getting there.
Wow.
I think the question is whether he accumulates basically 5 more wins above replacement in his career.
I did not have Jay Hay taking Sal Perez out back and tying him up to the tree on today's podcast, but here we are. Wow.
He'll get it this career. But here's the crazy part. If you look at his baseball reference WAR, 38.8. Or that's Baines. Sorry. 34.5. His
4 more, Joe. 4 more.
His Fangraphs WAR, 16.7. Literally half.
That is tough.
Literally
Holy
half.
Shit.
How does that
Gotta be all defense, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I just got some pretty good news.
That's incredible.
Oh, what's that?
So our dear friend RDT, you know him as the Orioles guy for Barstool. He just interviewed Colton Cowser, and he said, get those guys to Baltimore. We'll do a pod in the dugout. Like, would love to do that.
Yeah.
If only Dallas was literally just in Baltimore
there
yesterday.
Yeah.
So
Just there. Yeah. Well, I do want to take the time to shout out Nicole Sherry, who is fucking awesome. She's the groundskeeper, the head groundskeeper at Camden Yards at the, excuse me, let me put some respect on it, at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And I've been doing these groundskeeper interviews. One of the best. One of the best. She is fucking awesome. So just an aside.
When are we gonna see these?
I've sent them all. I'm sending them to Jake. I just needed to make sure that I was sending them over to Jake correctly first and foremost, which he says I have been.
Well,
so
and there's a chance that didn't go well. But
that's a victory. No, Jake, did I do it right?
Yeah, we're cooking. We should start seeing them come out in the next couple weeks.
There you go.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Did you take the trip to Babe Ruth's house?
Yeah, went to the
I've been
museum.
there. I've been there. That
Makes you
fucking
really
loser.
respect the man, right?
Yeah, they should call it the fucking loser museum.
Whoa, what the
Totally.
fuck? You have
Yeah. Yeah.
What is you just
The fucking
You-
loser
you
museum.
need
Yeah.
to be fucking slapped across the face.
That's how I feel about it.
I can't even
Yeah.
I can't believe I choose to spend fucking
Yeah.
free time with you
Yeah.
at any point in my life.
That's gonna be Jared's new segment, the fucking loser museum.
See,
Yeah.
And
like
then
that,
everyone, and he can induct
Yeah.
new players whenever you feel like it's necessary. I
see,
think
like, if you say that,
Mookie's
if you
in there.
say,
Ruth's crib.
if you say that in
Dude, I
front
would
of
love to
me,
be part of that, like on the board or something
Yeah.
of the fucking loser museum. Please.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me know.
Yeah.
oh my god, like I probably react and backhand you like a child who I've just heard the word fuck out of their mouth for the first time. Like if my 6-year-old said, you know
Break
what,
your hand.
go fuck yourself, I would probably react.
Mhm.
I can't, can you take that back, please?
No, I'm gonna double down on it. Fucking loser that he was.
Now
So
you have
is.
forced my hand. You forced my
Well,
hand.
I've been there. It's a nice museum. But he's a
I
fucking
apologize
loser.
for what happens next, and I don't know when, but
Jared's house might burn down suspiciously.
You gonna burn my house down?
I'll see you in
Like your
July,
idol?
bud. See you in July.
We'll see. The Astros, huge series against the Rockies, a battle of 2 last place teams. The Astros did sweep. The story here isn't really about 2 last place teams going at it.
It's about the elevation.
It is Framber Valdez returned
That's right.
in the series finale. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned. Did not walk a batter. Struck out 6. He got the win in his return.
Elbow feeling
So,
better.
Yeah, which is nice.
Astros 9-19, man.
Mm-hmm. Josh Hader lowered his ERA to 7.59. Presley lowered his ERA to 6.75. That Astros pen is turning a corner.
And then and Jose Abreu, he lowered his OPS.
Abreu? Jose Abreu?
Jose Abreu.
Yeah. Okay, make fun of me and not Jose Abreu, who has a fucking negative 20 OPS plus. So
Can you say it? Can you say it just one more time, Joe?
Abreu.
Jose
Jose
Abreu.
Abreu. I think I know how to say his name right. We have the same first name.
Yeah,
so.
you're getting it.
You know him, you love him. There's plenty of time for the Astros to get back on the horse here. If they start getting these pieces back, JV's back, Framber's back, I feel like they still have guys that are on the shelf that are very important to whether or not they make it back to their seventh or eighth consecutive ALCS. I can't remember. They still need to get some guys healthy, but as far as if you were to handpick guys to come back first, Framber and JV are probably those two guys, no?
Yes. And let's just be honest about the state of the division right now. They sit in last place, and what are they, 6 games? 6 games out?
They're 6 games out. They play in a division where the A's are in third place. Like, it can't be that hard.
So it's, if they get healthy and they go on a run and you feel like they're going to, out of a 20-game stretch, are they going to win more than they're going to lose when they start to get healthy? And
sucks.
Yeah, they're going to be
first
fine.
place team is plus 10 run differential. They're 2 games over 500. That's the Mariners.
I think it's the only division answer me this, Jared. Is it the only division that has just 2 teams with a positive run differential, or is the AL West and the NL West too?
The NL West, the D-backs are tied for third place with a plus 29.
Okay.
So it's the D-backs and the Dodgers.
So the D-backs and Dodgers have positive run differentials, and then the Mariners and the Rangers are the only ones with positive run differentials?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. They got time. They got plenty of time.
Yeah, they'll be back on the horse in no time. I am worried about them Stros, boy. We'll have Tex on the horn in no time, talking about how them Stros are back and to suck his dick and stuff like that. The Phillies swept the Padres. I'm disappointed in the San Diego Padres. I'm very disappointed in the San Diego Padres. I thought that this was going to be something where, before the season we had the conversation like, all right, they trade Juan Soto, but they added Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is pitching well. But the Padres, after that sweep, are now 3 games under 500. They have a negative run differential. They've lost 4 games in a row. They've lost 7 out of their last 10. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what is it going to take for the Padres to be a good baseball team again? It's really pissing me off.
I think they're cursed.
You think so?
It's like, it seems like no matter what, you get Soto, you get all these guys, they're just always 500, and then you think they're about to do good, and just how many times are we going to get tricked into thinking the Padres are going to be a good team? They go on a little run, and we're like, oh, the Padres, they got all these guys, they got all these good pitchers, and then it's like they immediately lose. They're just constantly 500.
Well, outside of Dylan Cease, I'm trying to think who's thrown the ball well for them, who has pitched well for them. Have they gotten any good pitching performances? I mean, you maybe.
Oh, yeah, but Yu's hurt. Yu's on the bump.
Right. Well, he's on the shelf. But I mean, like Musgrove has struggled, right? So outside of Michael King, he got off to a decent start, but
he's struggling.
So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't think it's a big rocket science equation here. I think they're just not getting quality performances from the starters right now.
I was doing some rocket science while Dallas was making that point, because I was actually going to say the same thing, which is that outside of Dylan Cease, their starting rotation has delivered a 5.15 ERA.
Ooh, that's not ideal, bro.
No, and you guys touched on it. Like Musgrove
7.
hasn't. Yeah, Musgrove hasn't just been bad; he's been like atrocious, and Darvish basically hasn't contributed anything to the advancement of their cause in 2024. So that's a huge part of what they were talking about. And
those 3 guys, Michael King, Darvish, King, Musgrove, have a combined 5.5 ERA. It's 5.51.
Not great, but they do
That's
have
not going to cut it.
they do have a really. That's another team with their closer has their top WAR is their closer.
Is
Robert
bad.
Suarez.
That's really bad.
That is not great.
No.
But he's a beast because he just throws fastballs. You see, he threw 69 straight fastballs over 4 games. Didn't
Love
give
that.
up a run.
Love that.
Well,
Love that.
And let's call it what it is,
418
too.
walks per 9. 418 walks per 9, and they've allowed 97 hits in 94 and 2/3 innings. Those 3 guys.
all right. So you have 75% of what was supposed to be the strength of your team, which is your starting rotation. So everybody, those 3 guys that Jared just mentioned in C's, because we'll throw out the 5th starter, but that's been largely a failure. And then you look at their offense, which we did not anticipate being a high-end offense, but which has on the whole scored about an average number of runs or middle of the pack or whatever. But you look at individual contributions and it's like, how are they even getting that many runs per game? Like Xander, and what's troubling is that it is very much supposed to be the core pieces of the team. Like Xander Bogaerts has been atrocious, and we don't even have to get into how many years and dollars are left on the contract. They need him producing
That's so bad,
right now. And he's, I mean,
He has a
we're well on our way to this
565
being maybe the
OPS.
worst contract in baseball. And
History.
like, 213 with a 565. He was already down last year from what his previous standard was. Tatis has flashed moments, but has not been the MVP caliber player that he was at the time he signed his extension.
Jurickson Profar
And
is the best
Machado
player
has
on the team.
been, Machado's been not very good. He's got a 703 OPS. You cannot have Profar be your best player.
No, you can't. Not on this team.
Not
in this
in
lineup.
2024. Not his level of baseball. That's little league stuff.
No.
Holy
Let me ask
shit.
you guys this: is the Machado is the Xander contract going to be worse than the Pujols contract? And will Xander's legacy, whatever that ends up being, take a bigger hit because it's not what the legacy of Pujols is in St. Louis?
I think I think the answer to the first question is that it will be worse because whatever we would have to figure out, we would have to adjust for era at the time the deal was given. Like Pujols' money was much larger then, relatively speaking, than Bogaerts' is now. But like, if we're just talking on the fly, like, will the production delivered during the contract look worse? I think the answer is absolutely yes. Like Bogaerts had Pujols fell from being an MVP caliber player. His first season with the Angels, I want to say, was still 100 something OPS with 30+ bombs.
He had
Pujols was an
30 home
MVP
runs in his
caliber
first
player
season.
for a fucking decade.
Like this
No,
is
but I'm talking about just the Angel stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
Pujols
okay.
with the Angels, 30 home runs in his first year. 2015, he hit 40, hit 31 the year after that. Like Xander, oh my God. Like, all right, just so this is not just a Xander bashing conversation. Tatis, Machado, and Bogaerts combined this year are hitting 236 with a 678 OPS. Those 3 guys combined.
Yeah.
But it's mostly Xander and it's Machado. Like,
No, Tatis is hitting fucking 244 with a 771 OPS. Like, that's not what you fucking gave him $300 million for.
No. You're right.
I will say that if I'm like parsing concern level, I am the least amount of concern with Tatis because he still has so much time to grow into that contract and as a player. And like, he just won a platinum award defensively last season. So he's bringing value in ways that Xander Bogaerts could never. But like these 2 guys that they owe $600 million to or $550 million to in Bogaerts and Machado, like it's early. It's 116 plate appearances for Machado, but he was down last season from where he was previously. Ignore the 30 homers. That was a very shallow 30 homers by Machado standards. OPS was down over 100 points. And so far this season, he's worse than he was the year before. And it's like, I don't know. That's a lot of money tied up in 2 players that are rapidly approaching non-impact status if this is where they're going. And that's crazy to say about Machado, who was and may see a Hall of Fame path. because it's not like he was bad last year. He was still 2 or 3 win player, but they need him to be. They need him to still be that guy.
What happens? What happens when those players both start to, and we'll say start to, like it hasn't happened now, but what happens when both those players start to really deteriorate? How do you salvage them? Because now it's a matter of trying to swap days at DH. You're finding spots for them where they can try to stay healthy. Like, is it a matter of trying to move Manny around because he's not moving around when he gets to that point? Same with Xander. Like, as you're talking about the left side of the infield that could age very, very quickly.
It's not looking good right now, Dallas. That makes me sad because, I mean, you could give or take with Manny Machado. I'm not going to call myself a huge fan, but Bogarts, Tatis, like, I love those guys. Like, I mean, going back to what Jay Hay said, yeah, plenty of time for Tatis to figure it out. Like, it's not like this is kind of like an aberration. What I don't like is him having this poor start to the season, and people don't really even talk about like the PED suspension anymore. But when you struggle like this, then it just kind of opens the door for the people to be like, oh, this is what he looks like when he's not on PEDs. Like, I'm pretty sure Tatis is a special talent and a guy that can contribute and make an impact at a high level without PEDs.
Everything about, like, the one thing I'll say about like watching these guys and how things are going, like, Xander will just always be one of those players for me. I'll never see that dude in a Padres uniform. He plays for the Padres. He'll retire a Padre probably. I'll never see him in a Padre uniform. He will always be a Red Sox to me.
Yeah.
The way that's why I asked the question about his legacy, because it's almost like in my brain, I have hit pause on his career the minute he joined the Padres, because I was like, I like the dude, love that guys get their money, but he's not a Padre. And I don't know that he's ever going to be a Padre for me. And I'm not a fucking Red Sox guy.
Well, buddy, fucking buckle up, because we got about a decade left.
Yeah.
I know.
You better settle into the idea of Xander Bogaerts as a Padre, because he's either going to be a Padre or he's going to be on team designated for assignment.
Yeah, he's going to go home and be Padre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's still like
He can come back for all the Red Sox retire, the tours in 15 years.
I think like and specifically with Xander, that contract was so wild that I didn't process it in real time of
I'm
how
still
ridiculous
not
it was.
processing it. It still doesn't make sense today. What do you mean?
No.
Fuck.
Well, I think it's we've talked
Yes,
about this
we all
before, not
understand.
to be morbid,
Right.
but it
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Yep. Same page.
Anyways, that's kind of it for like the series over the weekend. I did want to hit really quickly on Aaron Judge breaking up the double play with the oven mitt and blatantly cheating. Crew
Did you guys,
chief
though?
Andy Fletcher said that they missed the call on Judge's slide. Quote, on the field, we got together and did the best that we could to come up with the correct answer. After looking at it on replay, it appears that call was missed. It was an unnatural part of his slide.
So to that, I say, and I remind folks of the way that Mariano Rivera used to come set with the multiple tapping of his front foot. And that was argued for a while that it was a balk, and then it was understood that this was part of his everyday normal delivery. He wasn't deceiving guys with this. He wasn't using pickoff moves out of this. So it was not a effort to deceive. This was part of his normal setup, right? So that was understood. And now we've watched a wave of guys as they come set on the mound, multiple taps with that front foot, just getting themselves comfortable. Aaron Judge, and this was tweeted out, Aaron Judge, it has been documented that he slides like this regularly, or consistently, I should say. Nowhere in there did I tell you that it was legal. Okay? I didn't tell you that it was legal. What I told you is that it has been documented that Aaron Judge slides this way consistently. And he has done this over the course of his career. That's what I told you. And I know that you guys right now are probably scouring for that video. I wish I had it pulled up. but you'll be able to find it. You can just find the video of Aaron Judge slides into second, and you'll see that his hand constantly pops up like that. But the point made by, I forget who it was, a shortstop, he said, this dude's fucking 7 foot tall. Like when he slides and is laying on the ground and puts his arm up or is sliding like this to maybe create momentum when he's going down, his hand is still like as tall as the average person. So where do you want me to go with the ball? Like if he's supposed to be sliding on the ground and he's down, but because his hand is up, he's impeding my ability to throw the ball to my target. Is that a problem? And so in the day and age of obstruction, it's almost like the runner is obstructing the fielder's ability to finish the play defensively. But if Aaron Judge slides like this consistently, then what's going to be the ruling? And remember, the reason stuff like this doesn't get reviewed under replay is because this would all be an opinion of the umpire ruling that call or making that call. That would be a judgment call. And in this case, the judgment on the fly was no harm, no foul. That's how Aaron Judge slides. Not a problem. And that's why I said I hope you guys can find the video that shows him many, many, many times going into second base with his hands or a hand up just based on how he's sliding. Have you guys seen the video yet?
No, I think he was cheating, and we can move on from it. We don't have to keep going on it. It didn't really have that huge of an impact on the game. The Yankees still
Yes,
won
it
by
did.
Like 20. The Yankees won by 20 runs.
It was tied.
It was a tie game. It was a tie game. They went on to score fucking 11 runs.
Yeah.
That led to 7 runs. That one, if that's a double play, that's 7 runs off the board.
Yeah, the 11 men came to bat after that. Right after that play, Stanton came up and popped out. 2 outs. But after that, 11 men came to the plate.
Yeah.
So that mattered. That absolutely mattered.
I'm not saying it didn't matter. I'm just saying, I think we've exhausted the conversation.
Shout out to the umps though for admitting they're wrong, because according to what I see online, they never do that. And this is a call where you really didn't even have to. Like you could say, that's kind of like Giles said, it's a judgment call. The fact that's very surprising that they came out and said they fucked it up.
Yeah,
because it's not really that obvious.
No. You know what was obvious though, Joe?
No.
The imprint of players' dicks in those pants.
Oh, they're huge
during spring training. And we finally got a passing bomb last night. MLB plans to address the uniforms after complaints per a memo. And in this memo, Nike just gets absolutely shredded to pieces. The prominent modifications include a return to larger lettering on the back of the jerseys, which for me, that was like, I didn't care that they were see-through. I don't care that like you're sweating through them. Like that's your problem, dude. I don't give a shit. But as a fan, aesthetically, the look of the back of the jerseys did bother me a little bit. It looked tacky. It looked cheap. It looked like they went to TJ Maxx. No offense to TJ Maxx. Looked like they got like the $35 jerseys that you would see there. That part bothered me as a fan, and also for the players, I was bothered. Like, there's some guys that maybe they only play one game in their entire lives in the big leagues, and you got to wear this tacky ass jersey. The prominent modifications include a return to larger lettering on the back of the jerseys, remedying mismatched gray tops and bottoms, and addressing the new Nike jerseys' propensity to collect sweat, according to the memo distributed to players by MLB Players Association on Sunday. There's more stuff in here if you want to read the whole article, but this quote stood out. Quote, "This has been entirely a Nike issue," the memo to players read. Quote, "At its core, what has happened here is that Nike was innovating something that didn't need to be innovated."
Wow.
We cautioned Nike against various changes when they previewed them in 2022, particularly regarding the pants. MLB had been and has been aware of our concerns as well. Unfortunately, until recently, Nike's position has essentially boiled down to nothing to see here. Players will need to adjust. There was another line in here that used the word absolve. Let me do a quick search.
Well, and yesterday,
yes, right here, the union also absolved Fanatics, because I know that if you were on baseball Twitter, everyone was clowning on Fanatics for these jerseys and the pants. The union also absolved Fanatics, the manufacturer of the uniform that has received the majority of public scorn for the uniform mess, saying the company, quote, recognizes the vital importance of soliciting player feedback, obtaining player buy-in, and not being afraid to have difficult conversations about jerseys or trading cards. Our hope is that moving forward, Nike will take a similar approach. So in this, like, Fanatics is completely off the hook, and Nike gets shredded for the jersey and pants mishap.
Yeah, well, I wonder how many folks understand the relationship between Fanatics and Major League Baseball, and why Fanatics might be absolved of any involvement.
They're in bed together, yeah.
That's didn't see that coming.
Yeah, but Nike is very much in bed with MLB too.
Yeah, but Jared, I think if you understand the
And
layers,
none of these people are married.
I love that, Jay. The layers and levels, though, to the involvement of Fanatics, like Nike's making uniforms, and that's where that relationship sort of like begins and ends to an extent, right? Nike has players that have sponsorships.
Joe did a video on this. What explain the dynamic with the jerseys and the money spent between Nike and all that shit.
But basically, Nike's in charge of making the uniforms, but they don't actually make the uniforms. They basically hired Fanatics to make them. So they basically just send Fanatics all the material and like the instructions on what to make, how to make them, and whatnot. And Fanatics actually produces the jerseys. So Nike's not really making the jerseys, but they are telling Fanatics how to make them. And they get to put their logo on it.
And Fanatics has a massive memorabilia deal with Major League Baseball, Jared. That's why the rookies who wear the MLB debut patch, there's only one reason. There's only one reason the MLB debut patch exists. And it's because Fanatics takes that patch off of the jersey and puts it into a trading card set so that collectors like myself pursue those collectibles.
That's actually sick.
I
love those things.
It's great. In my opinion, Joey, that is one of the greatest things that has happened in the hobby. That's really cool to see, but don't lose sight of why Fanatics has been absolved in this. Just don't lose sight of that, please.
Yeah, and they make every baseball card now, right? They bought out Topps.
You don't say, Joe.
So yeah, and they do all of MLB's like memorabilia. Everything that you basically buy like on the website is through Fanatics. They're basically just a company that makes T-shirts.
Put it like this, Jared.
Which is obvious.
When Domingo Germán threw his perfect game in Oakland last year,
they stripped him in the dugout.
I made a call and asked, "So how much you want for it?" And they were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "How much for the rubber? I want the rubber." And they were like, "Really? Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll figure that out." And then my source came back to me and was like, I don't think you're going to be able to get that. Well, I guess you could, and then it was broken down for me why I was probably not going to be able to get that. And let's just say that there's a very, 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 very short line for people who want things like that. And there's one group who's at the front of that line, and there's nobody behind him in that line. You want to know who that line consists of, Jared?
Fanatics.
You are really fucking good at this game.
Fanatics got the rubber?
Fanatics has first right of refusal, which means they've already paid for it. Basically, it's you can't give that away until we make an offer on it or tell you that we don't want it.
Got it.
And it's for
don't you have your entire rubber? You have the whole rubber, right?
The whole ass used dirty rubber. Still got it.
So Domingo can't get the rubber. That's Fanatics. You have to buy it from Fanatics.
Yeah, that rubber is not Domingo's.
See, that's a different game, man. They didn't have it in Dallas's day. They just monetize everything. Like they were able to make money on everything. And that's why Fanatics is such a big company. They make MLB so much money just selling anything they can, all the jerseys, and they can make them so fast. Like if Jared becomes a Red Sox and the Red Sox sign Jared tomorrow, you could get the Jared jersey in 3 days.
Yeah, well, they got the Jared jersey ready to rock before Jared gets off the phone confirming the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's
quality is a little
like that jersey.
quality suspect, but they sell a lot more jerseys because of it.
Yep.
T-shirts, mugs, golf balls, rubbers.
It's interesting.
And also I think the main issue, which you didn't cover, is like a lot of these teams still don't have their jerseys. They can't wear their jerseys because they haven't gotten them yet. Certain color schemes.
Yeah.
I think the Mets haven't been able to wear like their blue
black.
jerseys or yeah.
Shout out Daryl Hernandez, Gunnar Henderson for the jersey swap. That's I think what kind of sparked some of this conversation too. Is I took a picture of Daryl Hernandez and Gunnar Henderson swapping jerseys yesterday, and Gunnar Henderson gave Daryl an old jersey, and people were like, "Are we just not going to address the fact that Gunnar was wearing and gave Daryl an old jersey, and Daryl gave him one of the new ones?" And I was like, "Well,
Maybe
I'll let you take care of that."
Yeah. Well, it's a big day for you, Dallas.
It is a big day.
It is
a big day.
I don't know how you're gonna do with this because it's kind of just like it's a little bit of like, but it's also like I don't know where are you at emotionally right now?
I'm torn. I've asked if I can wear my A's Kelly Green pullover and my pirate hat at the same time. Haven't gotten a response back on that one.
Who do you ask that question to?
What's that? I mean, obviously I'm joking, but it was, my producer, the TV director and producers. I talk to them every morning, and I was like, all right, so what do we got? I was like, can I work in an eye patch? Is that too subtle, or is that not subtle? And like, what do we feel about that? So we're workshopping it. We're getting there, but it's exciting. Got a 3-game set. The Buccos are riding into the Bay. I'm torn. I'm torn because we've got so many great little underlying storylines developing with the A's. Obviously, what has happened with the Pirates, how they've played, slowed down a bit maybe, but they've got some fun things to talk about. So it'll be exciting. I jokingly was praying to all the baseball gods, anybody that would listen, is Paul Skeen's going to get dropped on my doorstep at the end of this month. I don't think that's going to happen. That's fine. It's okay. But game 1, we got I think Bailey Falter against Joe Boyle tonight. That's game 1. Game 2, Stripling and Priester, and then game 3 is that's game 3, I think. Game 2 is Wood versus Keller. Keller has not been throwing the ball well. It's been a Mitchie mixed bag of results there for Mitch Keller. It's not been ideal. 2 shitty starts to start the season, a couple of good ones, and then a couple of bad starts after that. Not great.
Yeah. Keller Wood is tomorrow. And then you've got Priester versus Chicken Strips.
Yeah. Priester threw the ball well. I believe his last time out, 6 shutout innings against the Giants. But for Keller, his first 2 starts, both of those 2 starts combined 11 innings, 8 earned runs. That was against, I want to say Miami and Washington. And then his next 2 starts were against the Tigers and Phillies. And combine those 2 starts, I think it was 13 innings, 4 earned runs. And then his last 2 starts looked very much like his first 2, 11 innings, 8 earned runs. That was against Boston and Milwaukee. So like the definition of mixed bag for Mitch Keller.
There you go. Jake, Red Sox take 2 or 3 from the fucking Cubbies this weekend. Nice little walk-off for Tyler O'Neill. How you feeling about your team?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of doesn't make any sense. It feels like they're way better and way worse than they should be simultaneously, but I mean, we'll take it. Pitching's been unbelievable. We'll see how long that can last.
Best pitching team in baseball. How about that? Fuck you, Jordan Montgomery. I don't want to come to Boston because I don't have a chance to win. Fuck you, dude. How much better would the Red Sox be if Jordan Montgomery was here? Well, guess what? We don't need your fucking stupid ass.
Wow.
Have fun in Arizona. Yeah. Yep. That's how I feel. If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. I'm glad he chose to sign with the Diamondbacks. Last thing we need is another Pablo situation where someone takes the money because it's the best offer. You don't want to be here, then don't be here. Fuck you.
Has that bothered you that you guys aren't even that team anymore?
What, that players will come here just for the money?
Yeah.
We don't even offer that. Like
that's what I was
the
asking.
High bidder for? Nobody.
Does it
Tyler
bother
O'Neill?
Does it bother you that you're no longer a team that even gets like considered? Oh well, we'll go there just because they're willing to pay us. Like you're not even willing to come up out of the pocket. Does that
Dallas,
bother you? That's what I was asking.
No, because this conversation, albeit it hurt a lot to come to terms with it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we didn't pay Xander Bogaerts.
For sure.
I mean, you think about it, it's like our highest paid players are our worst players.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we're paying Chris Sale to pitch awesome for the Braves. Like that's tough.
So
But
you'd rather. So
Story's
you're
out for
like
the year.
So is that a model that you're comfortable with though? Like fuck it, paying the legacy guys. Like we'll just continue to pay like our worst players good money and we'll keep them, and then we won't really shift away from that. Is that a
That's how
trend?
the Patriots. That's how the Patriots had two dynasties. They just were like, hey, I understand that you have quite the legacy you've built for yourself here, but see you later.
Well, I mean, one of those guys was pretty good. They kept him around for a while till they didn't believe in him, and then he proved them wrong.
No, Devers is still here.
Okay, so Devers, right on. All right.
Yeah, Devers is still here. Yep, still smashing baseball. So, yeah,
nothing's changing. Then I like it.
Yeah. The Orioles and the Yankees go toe to toe this week.
After the fucking green and gold, just put them both in a blender.
Yeah,
they don't know fucking what end is up right now.
Yeah, Grayrod versus Schmidt. That's today. Then you got, I don't even want to call him Nasty Nestor. He's like mediocre Nestor versus Dean the Cream Machine in the middle game. And then the finale.
209, stand up.
The finale is Gill versus Corbin Burns.
Shout out Corbin Burns. Quick little nug on your boy Corbin.
That's not the finale. This is a 4-game set. TBD for Baltimore, and Rodon goes in the finale.
Well, we're still going to shout out Corbin Burns for giving up first inning homers. He's had 6 starts this season, 4 bombs in the first inning he's given up. There's only one other pitcher that's done that. Jared, can you name him?
That's given up 4 bombs in the first inning?
Yep.
Can I have a hint?
He's left-handed on your team. His last name rhymes with Pale.
He's not on my team.
Or on the Braves, sorry, Joey.
Could it be Chris Sale, maybe?
I feel like that's a suspension, Jake.
Sale.
I mean,
Sale.
He's trying to pin that evil on me.
Because we were
You're the ones paying him.
Yeah, he just said left-handed. I was like, do we even have a left-handed starter? I don't think we do.
Just here's a stray nugget, a nugget that has fallen off of the cookie sheet, Jay Hay, for no reason whatsoever. The Mets are the only team without a home run to be hit for them in the first inning.
That sucks to the Mets. And by the way, I don't want to sound like I sometimes people say I'm a Mets hater, but like their City Connect jerseys are fucking terrible.
They look like what the Yankees City Connect jerseys should look like.
Which either way, they would be shit. I don't care who's wearing them. They look terrible. Why? Wait, but yeah, that makes sense. They're in New York. But why? What? I don't get the purple.
Mets?
I just Mets are in New York. Mets are New York. Mets are wearing bad uniforms. So that's just my opinion. Who cares?
Who's your? Who cares? That's just my opinion. Who cares? Who would you say has the best City Connect jerseys, Joe?
Off the top, Nationals. Cherry Blossoms. Those are tight.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I got a nice DM from a Nationals fan the other day being like, thank you for, like usually when we get talked about, it's about the Steven Strasburg retirement drama, and it's never usually about our baseball team. So I was surprised. I mean, Nationals is one of those organizations where like you're not sure how the fan base is, I guess, because of the relocation from Montreal, and there's a lot of Orioles fan. Like the Orioles are very exciting right now. So like geographically, a lot of those fans that like baseball in that area, they're going to be Orioles fans. But, Yeah, quick shout out to the Nats.
Yeah, I saw him live in person. I saw Corbin, fucking what's his name? Patrick Corbin.
Corbin Carroll, Corbin Burns, Patrick Corbin.
There's a lot of Corbins, man.
So many Corbins.
But he diced up the Dodgers, didn't give up a run, man. Beast. And then
like
Shohei hit the furthest home run of the year for him. Saw it live. No
You were at that game?
Yep. Right over. You hit it right over my head.
Buck 18-7.
Second deck.
Yep. Hardest hit ball of his career.
Yep. Saw live. No
There you
big deal. That's not the hardest ball hit of his career, but home run ball maybe.
That's what they said. They said it was the hardest hit ball of his career.
Liars. He's got to hit 120. He's had to hit a ball 120 at least.
In America, I don't even think that would be the record for anybody.
Yeah, Stan's hit at 120s.
Oh, he has?
I think did O'Neal Cruz?
O'Neal Cruz, I
What's
think,
the hardest hit ball?
has the record.
I think O'Neal Cruz, like 122 or something like that. No, am I wrong? Probably.
Hardest hit baseball is a buck 19-2. Shohei Ohtani. It was an RBI single.
Thank you.
That's the hardest hit ball of 24.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Statcast era.
What's the hardest hit ball ever? 122.4. O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, that's what
122.4.
Put some respect on it.
I mean,
that's a fucking
Jesus
missile. It was a
Christ.
single, I believe, right, Jared?
yeah, it
Off
was
the wall,
off the
right
wall.
field. It was off the wall. Yeah, a fucking absolute bullet.
It was a single.
Yep. I remember it.
120. It was against the Braves, Joe.
Who again? Was Cruz hit that against the Braves?
Yeah, was it off Huascar Noah?
It was off right.
Jay, what do you got Nugs, Jay?
Have we arrived at that point?
We've arrived at that point, yeah.
Fuck yeah, I've got a hefty batch in Monday Nugs.
Ooh.
Before you dive into that, I just wanted to is Wyatt Langford in there? We didn't touch on that.
Yeah, he hit
Nope.
it inside the
Nope,
pocket.
go
Home run
ahead.
for his
Yeah,
first
no,
one.
it just
Fucking
first career homer happened to be an inside the park homer. The last Ranger to do that was Josh Smith, who did it against the Oakland Athletics. Nothing cool there. Do you happen to have Tarek Skubal on your list?
Nope. Go ahead.
6 starts for the left-hander, Tarek Skubal, 36 and 2/3 innings, 41 punch-outs, 6 walks, 1.72 ERA for the left-hander. You rewind that and factor in his September of last year, which he won Pitcher of the Month for the American League. His last 11 starts look like this. He's 8-0 with a 1.35 ERA, 84 strikeouts to 10 walks over 66 and 2/3 innings. Slicing
Cy Young bid's going pretty well.
and Dyson. Give me the lefty.
Okay. Jay, proceed.
Bobby Witt Jr., this is all entering today, Monday. Bobby Witt Jr. has 4 homers, 4 triples. A lot of, just before, I'm going to get this out of the way. A lot of these are super specific, so I don't want to hear from anybody. That's the whole point. We're trying to make these as weird as possible. Bobby Witt Jr. has 4 homers, 4 triples, 8 doubles, and 8 stolen bases so far this season. Okay? Little bit of everything. It would be the first time since Joe Carter in September and October of 1986 that a player hit 4, 4, 8, and 8 in a month. For these purposes, March and April and September, October are counting as a month. Ranger Suarez has limited batters to a 415 OPS this season. Talked about him on the last pod. That's the lowest OPS allowed in March and April with a minimum of 6 starts since Chris Paddock in 2019.
The Texas tailgate.
Half decade ago, Chris Paddock got off to one of the best starts we've ever seen. We forget about these things. I forget about these things. On the opposite end of the spectrum from Ranger Suarez is good friend of the podcast, Alex Wood. signed with the A's to give him a shot at the rotation. I think we're finding out why they were the only team to give him a shot.
Hey, he just got his first W since 2022, Jay Hay.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. Alex Wood has allowed batters to post a 1.018 OPS this season. That's the highest OPS allowed in March, April, minimum 6 starts since Ryan Dempster in 2011.
Jeez.
That's how bad this start to the season has been for Alex Wood. No offense.
None taken.
Ellie De La Cruz has 7 homers and 18 stolen bases. His March and April would be the second time in MLB history a batter has produced 7+ homers and 18 stolen bases in a single month, joining Ricky Henderson May of 1986. That's it. Mike Trout, weird season going on. This is nugget number 5. Mike Trout has 10 homers, 5 stolen bases, and is batting .226. It would be the first time in MLB history a batter put up a single month with 10 and 5 and a batting average below .230. Very rare to make contact that infrequently and rack up that many counting stats. Number 6, a guy I don't think we've talked about a single fucking time on the podcast, but we're going to give him some love this year. Alec Bohm. Boom. Did I say Bohm?
You said Bohm. It's Bohm.
That's how infrequently we're talking about him. As I'm reading his name here, I said it wrong. Alec Bohm, 1.056 OPS this season. That would be the best OPS in March and April by a Phillies batter since Chase Utley in 2008.
Silver Fox.
What, 16 years since we've seen a March and April this productive by OPS by a Philly? Corbin Carroll, we've talked about his issues to some extent. Baseball Savant has a really cool tool where you can look up the largest year-over-year increases or decreases in specific stats. Corbin Carroll has suffered tied for the largest year-over-year drop in average exit velocity from 2022 to 2023. 23 to 24, I'm sorry. He's gone from 90 miles per hour to 83.2. Not good. Number 8, Riley Green. His walk rate is 19.2% for the Tigers this season. Is not only in Major League Baseball among qualified batters, yes, higher than Juan Soto, but his year-over-year increase in walk rate is also the largest in Major League Baseball from 2023 to 2024. His walk rate was 8.4% last season. It's 19.2% right now. Shea Bangaliers.
Yeah, buddy.
Another A's stat for us. Another not great one. 133 batting average on balls in play. 133 for Shea Bangaliers.
Bad luck. A lot of bad luck.
That's the lowest batting average on balls in play in March, April, minimum 90 plate appearances since Ryan Schimpf in 2017.
Old Bangaliers just rode fucking Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns out of the ballpark. First inning. Thanks for coming out. I don't want to fucking hear it.
He's having a Schimpfian 2017. That's what a lot of. Number 10, Lane Thomas. Another weird season going on. 16 hits, 16 total hits, and 11 stolen bases. It would be the first time since Tom Goodwin. Yeah, look it up. Since Tom Goodwin in 1999 that a batter had 16 or fewer hits, but also somehow 11 or more stolen bases. Very weird. It's basically stealing almost, when you factor in walks, that's basically every other get on base. And then a bonus nug. Jared mentioned the Orioles Yankees series starting. There have been 493 batters in MLB history to accumulate 400 career plate appearances or more against the Orioles. Aaron Judge's 1.149 OPS is the 5th best of those 493 batters, and the 4 names of him are just as good as it gets: Ted Williams, Jimmy Fox, Lou Gehrig, and Babe Ruth. So you got to give the Orioles credit for something. They let the absolute best players in baseball history bang the shit out of them. It's not scrubs that are getting the best of the Orioles. It's the best of the best. So that's the Monday. That's the Monday Nug Pack.
Orioles should start their own OnlyFans.
This one goes to 11. What's up? Oh, that's not what I meant. That's disgusting. That's not what I meant. I meant baseball production, Dallas.
Yeah. Sure you did.
Mhm.
Says the guy who just ripped Salvador Perez's entire heart out.
Mhm. All right. I think that does it.
Let me do my final thoughts.
Well, we didn't get to final thoughts yet, Joe.
Okay, I thought those were final thoughts.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are just nugs.
Those are just nugs. That does it for this Monday Joseph episode. Joe, do you have any final thoughts?
Joe.
Yeah, actually, funny you ask. I have many final thoughts.
What are they?
Well, first of all, I'm back on Shohei watch. I'm watching Shohei. He's got 1.6 WAR right now. That's third in NL. He could be the first DH MVP, which I don't want to jinx it, but if he is, that will be amazing. And I wanted to request a Nug lookup, perhaps, because I can't fucking look this up. But I mean, he has 1.6 WAR as a DH through his first 30 games, which seems like there's be no one close to that. Just on a pure DH to have 1.6 WAR this early. I keep trying to look it up in StatHead and the shit crashes. But Jay, if you could find out if you want to sometime.
I will look by Wednesday. I think I'm going to run into a similar crashing problem because you're probably doing it correct. It's just a tough search. We'll probably have to break it up into smaller year bits.
Can you do it on?
We'll get it by Wednesday.
Can you do it on True Media?
What's the question?
I don't have access.
Like first 30 games to start a season as a DH. Ohtani has 1.6 FWAR. I want to know if anyone's ever got close.
True Media doesn't have WAR.
Ooh, lame.
Yeah, I've been asking them for 5-6 years to add WAR.
I'll ask.
Yeah, you ask. Put in the ask.
They'll probably listen.
Yeah.
Also, I'm doing the Bartolo Bunt live stream tonight. Tune in.
Why didn't it go off the last time?
I couldn't figure out how to dual stream in time, so I just didn't. I'm learning how to stream. So just guys could be patient. This could be a complete disaster. It could crash 100 times. I don't know how to fix it. That could happen, but that's just a fun part of the stream.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get, Joe.
But I think I figured it out. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes trying to get the stream set up. We'll be live on at least YouTube and Twitter. So at least maybe even TikTok. We'll see. Okay. If you guys like watching streams on TikTok, I know that's a great experience.
Yeah. What time?
5:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Perfect. Not like anyone's driving home from work or sitting down for dinner or anything.
Brother, I'll be going to be live all night. This shit's going to take probably 24 hours.
All right.
So if it's past 5:00, I'll probably be on live. So you guys come in, leave a comment, leave a heart, donate. Make sure you donate.
I'll donate
as much as you can.
I'm going to tune in. Are you going to be looking at the chat or no?
Yeah, I'll be looking at the chat.
All right, because I don't do streams unless they look at the chat. If I get the sense that the content creator is ignoring the chat, I'm out.
I'll look in the chat. If you guys want to call in, I'll take a call. You know, you want to say something, you want to talk to the chat. You guys, I'll open invitation. Everyone on Baseball's Dead.
What stream do you think you'll be paying the most attention to the chat?
YouTube. I guess YouTube is only going to one with the chat because I don't think there's going to be a chat on Twitter.
There's a chat on TikTok.
Yes. So I probably won't be looking at that if I figure out TikTok. I could also put the chat on screen so that you can even on Twitter, but then you can't chat, but you know what I mean? So if you want to chat, get on YouTube, chat me up.
Okay. I'll be in the chat.
But be respectful.
I'm a big chat guy. So, Dallas, final thoughts today?
Yeah, I do want to take the time to shout out Alex Wood after his long, arduous journey to the next victory that hadn't happened since 2022. Hey, go fuck yourself. It takes a lot of work to win a big league ball game, and it takes a lot of work if you're Alex Wood trying to do things the way he's trying to do them. So for him to get that W under his belt, it's a great feeling. Shout out Nikki fucking Nukes. Hey, Nikki Nukes dropping diesel in the Bronx. He hit a bomb. But yeah, shout out Mason Miller for absolutely abusing Soto and Judge again. Front row seat to that. That was a lot of fun. Lots of fun.
We've definitely done a podcast since that happened, but
have we?
Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Sure about that?
Yeah, we
when
had
he pitched. No, Thursday was Thursday.
Getaway day.
Yeah.
Getaway day.
He
Yeah,
did
he
that on
bl-
Friday? No.
No, Friday.
Did I-
Friday was in Baltimore. Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday in Baltimore. So we recorded Thursday, and he pitched Thursday.
Okay.
So we didn't do a podcast about it. We talked about him undressing a different set of superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been it.
Yeah, I have our
Uh,
producers gathering a reel of every superstar that Mason Miller is just embarrassing.
Jay, hey, final thoughts?
Rays City Connects
Yeah.
are out there today.
Saw that.
On one hand, I like them. On the other hand, their stated goal is to celebrate the vibrancy and kind of the color and stuff of South Florida, and they are a gray black uniform. So a little confused about that. I feel like you could have really leaned into, you could have kind of gone with like a Marlins Padres approach to it, where you got really colorful and you kind of leaned into the culture or whatever it is. I'm not all that familiar with Tampa, St. Petersburg area culture necessarily, but I don't know. I saw those, and they're kind of middle of the pack. That's what I'll say about the City Connect.
It looks like an alternate throwback jersey more than like a city. Like
it
a
does.
City Connect has
It
to
does,
totally
which-
deviate from anything.
I think the best ones that have been done deviate. Yeah, I would say you're right. It does look more like kind of an alternate uniform. Did you guys know that after the current batch of 2024 City Connects, that the only ones who will not have issued a City Connect are the Yankees and the A's?
Why have the A's done it? You guys can't afford it?
I don't know that I even need to answer that.
Tough to
question.
celebrate a local area, right? When you're leaving it. City Connect, what city are you connecting with?
Yeah, that's got to be it.
It's kind of
Oh.
that'd be a PR nightmare.
Oh, they
I
have to
think.
connect with the city.
City
The
Connect.
yes, city. Oh, okay. Yeah, City Connect. Yeah. That makes a lot of
And
sense.
the Yankees are just too good for the enterprise.
Yeah, no, there's no
They just turn their nose up at it.
That would be damaging to the brand. The brand would never recover.
Right. Yeah, there's no way the Yankees
You guys
could do something
joke, but
like that.
that's the actual reason.
Yep.
We'll say one thing about the City Connects. I like the Rays ones, but you never know until they wear them in the games. People always say they're
Fair.
shit before until you see them on the field. You never really know what the jerseys are, good or bad.
That's fair. My final thought. There's a dude that refuses to go to the Coliseum, but he's going to every single road game for the
Oh, my-
A's this year. What's this
And,
guy's deal, Dallas?
So his name is Road Trip Mike, and I have dubbed
Okay.
him. I have dubbed him and these two other dudes. It's a great story. He's retired military, and he's been traveling with the team on the road. He went to a lot of the home games, and he said this year, not doing it, not going to the Coliseum. We understand why, and he was like, but I'm on board for. I got 76 of them under my belt this year, Dallas. I got 76 games on the road I'll be at. And I was kind of giving him shit. I said, that's all? That's all. And he looked at me. He was like, well, that's enough. And he's very serious, but he's a great dude. And he was like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. The next day, Jared, this dude showed up. He was like, Dallas, I took what you said to heart, and I'm in. All 81, brother, is what he said. And then I go, what do you got? He goes, I'm coming to all 81 games on the road. I was like, Mike, you're a fucking psycho. He was like, I know it, but I love this team, brother. I love this team. So him and these two other dudes that he met like at the very beginning of the year, I forget where he met up with them. But they're going to all the road games with him now. And they met in New York on this road trip. They met up in New York, and they were going to be flying to Baltimore. And Mike was like, you're not flying. Come on. You're coming with me. And so they like canceled their plane tickets, canceled their flights, got in the RV with Road Trip Mike, and they all three RV'd down to or over to Baltimore from New York. So these dudes are just traveling together. I call them the Road Trip Renegades. They're just traveling with each other to each and every away game that the A's will play this year. And I text him yesterday during the game because he sits right by the dugout and like when I talk about hanging on every pitch.
Did you show him on the broadcast yesterday? Did he have a rally cap on?
So listen, here, I'm going to show. Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys right now what we got. So I'll show you the image of them right now, all looking at their phones because I was texting Mike. Mike's the guy in the white jersey right now with the rally cap on. And I was texting him and I said, Mikey, put your damn rally hat on! ! Hurry. And mind you, I've got the camera on him in between innings while I'm texting him to see if he's getting it. And he's getting it. And you could see him start to, like, his hands are moving quick, and he went to set his phone down, and he took his hat off, and he put it on backwards, but then he turned it off, he took it off, and he was twisting it inside out, and he's like smacking the other dudes, and he's showing them the phone, like, at the same time, and they're fucking fumbling to get their hats on, and it was perfect, like, 3, 2, and he fucking boom, hat was on, rally cap was on, we came back from commercial, and we were going, and then they end up fucking coming back. Kimbrel shit the bed for the second day in 3 days, and Kyle McCann hits a fucking bomb, and Road Trip Mike and all three of these, they all three turn around and look up at me, and they're fucking pointing to me. They're like, yeah, they're waving their hats and shit. Like when I don't mean to get cheesy about this, but this season's going to mean a lot to a lot of different A's fans for a lot of different reasons, and some don't want to endure it. Understand, some are trying to embrace it and soak up every minute of it. And that's the boat that this dude is in. And that's the boat that he's driving. And he's pulling people in, he's piling people on, and he's going to be cruising with this club on the entire fucking road trip for the season. And it makes going to these games, it makes it so much fun. It makes it so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed them when you pointed him out on the broadcast. I was like, what's this guy's deal?
Yeah.
You hear about him. You're like, this motherfucker's going to all 81 road games this year for the Oakland A's. Good
all 81.
That's the dream.
Road Trip Mike and the Road Trip Renegades.
Road Trip Mike. I want to meet him. Obviously the A's come to Boston. I want to meet Road Trip Mike.
He'll be there. I'm taking him. I'm taking him through the Monster. I took him through the Monster last year. And took him
take
like
him to Kowloon is what you got to do.
Took like he signed, dude, like he was, and you've never met somebody like just more appreciative to be at a baseball game. It's like it's just like, oh, Dallas, I tell you, I was in Milwaukee. As soon as you walk into the ballpark, you see the slide. I had to go chase down Bernie Brewer, but the smell of the sausages hit me in my face. And I knew I was home. Like the passion that this dude talks about the game and every fucking ballpark he goes to with is so touching and so refreshing.
Love that. Jake's takes?
I'm just excited for tonight. I'm going to have a nice little 3TV setup going with Celtics, Braden Bowl, and Joey trying to get a bunt single with Bartolo Colon. So yeah, it's gonna be a great night.
Let's go, Joe.
Hope I can do it, man.
I'm rooting for you. I'll be in the chat. Check out Baseball Doesn't Exist. Is it on that channel, or is it one of your new channels?
Yeah, Baseball Doesn't Exist.
Okay, Baseball Doesn't Exist on YouTube. Check him out. He's gonna be trying to get a bunt single with Bartolo Colon through every year of his career.
Every year he was in a video game starting in 1999 is the first one I got.
MVP?
Okay.
Just MLB 1999. I'm not going to be playing MVP baseball.
Why?
So if you guys were coming for MVP baseball, I'm not playing MVP baseball.
Why?
Suck my dick.
Wow.
Why?
I refuse.
Wow.
Because I don't have it. I just got MLB 2004,
I
2005.
guess the game, you just don't have it.
I don't have. I just got MLB 2004, 2005. It's no big deal.
All right, brother. All right. Check out Joe's stream. We will be back on Wednesday. Enjoy the next couple days of baseball, the Braden Bowl specifically, and we will see you then.
Let's go, Oakland. Raise it. Meow.